Alright, so today we are just chilling, doing a foundation review. Got a sweatshirt on. Didn't change because my room is 2 degrees right now. It's all good. So today I have a review and demo of the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer. This is not a new foundation, but I feel like for some reason it's getting a ton of hype right now. In the last few weeks I've gotten a ton of requests from you guys to review this foundation, so that is what we are doing today. This is a review, not a first impression video, since I've been using this for the last few weeks, but I'm still going to show you how I apply it and all that good stuff. So let's just get into it. If you follow me on social and on Snapchat, you already kind of know my thoughts on this, but I'm just going to get into some of the pros and cons. So this foundation is 1 fluid ounce, pretty standard. It comes in 20 shades. I'm going to start off by talking about the shades because that's like the biggest con for me. I feel like the fact that they have 20 shades should be a good sign. Their shade finder and their whole descriptions and numbering and everything is like the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. If you're trying to find the lightest shade or a shade perfect to your skin tone, I would not recommend buying this online. Go into the Clinique counter. Even then, they don't have all of the shades of the foundation. The lightest shade, which is 0.5, is only sold online. And if you use their shade finder online, if you drag the little bar all the way where it says to very fair skin tones, it says that like number 4 is the lightest or number 3. That is totally off. I have 2 different shades here because the first one I ordered online actually a while ago and I just never used it because it was like way too dark. This is the shade 2 Alabaster, and then the one I ended up finding, which I realized is actually the lightest, is 0.5 Breeze. Even the lightest shade Breeze is still too dark for me. You guys will see in the video, but I do have to mix it with a foundation lightener. I can pull it off without a foundation mixer, barely. My face definitely looks darker than my neck, but it doesn't look orange, which is a good thing, but I feel like it looks best when I mix it with a foundation lightener. If you're paler than I am, just keep in mind that this is going to be still way too dark for you. You'll definitely have to mix it with a foundation mixer. If you're around my skin tone, I would say give it a try. I wouldn't call it a pale foundation by any means. It's barely doable. So I'm going to show you guys swatches of the shade 0.5 and 2 Alabaster so you can see the difference. I did a ton of research online trying to figure out what the heck is the lightest shade and what the best shade for me is. In the end, I figured out that it is 0.5, so don't go by what the Clinique website says. Even on Sephora, like they're all out of order, so you can't actually tell what's the lightest shade. Their descriptions are super unhelpful, so again, just go into the actual counter. Okay, so on to some of the claims. It's supposed to be a foundation and concealer in one, and I think their packaging is kind of goes along with that. It comes with this big ass wand. Like, this is the hugest, most ginormous concealer wand I've ever seen, and you're supposed to just directly brush this on your face, which is pretty unsanitary because you're supposed to just stick it back in the thing. That's what I've been doing because it does apply best that way. I've tried to put it on a palette, but it doesn't work as well. So I do just stroke it directly onto my face and then blend out with a brush. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
So it's supposed to be a lightweight moisturizing makeup that covers thoroughly without clogging pores. I haven't noticed that it's broken me out at all. I have super acne prone, cystic acne skin. 9 out of 10 foundations break me out, and this hasn't broken me out at all, which is really awesome. It says it has a rich pigment level for flawless coverage makeup. And I would definitely say that this is a full coverage foundation. You can see that it does a pretty dang good job of covering up all of my acne, all of my redness, and I feel like it gives a really nice, flawless, even application. As far as primers, from what I found, it does just about the same with or without a primer. Card just got full, but we are back. I feel like is this super crooked? Yeah. So it retails for $27. I forgot to mention that at the beginning, and you get 1 fluid ounce of product. So for a high-end foundation, that's a pretty good price, I feel like. As far as lasting power, it has been like 80 degrees in Seattle, and it has lasted pretty well throughout the day. I definitely need to set it with a powder, like I said. But by the end of the night, I am not looking horrible. My foundation is still fully covering everything. It hasn't broken down, and it looks really nice. So I'm going to go into the demo now so you guys can see before and after and how it applies and what products I use and all that good stuff. Alright, my neighbor is going to town with the hammer right now, so hopefully you guys can't hear that. It's my only day to film, so we're doing this. So the primer that I found works best with this foundation for me is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water. So I'm just going to spray some of this on my face. This gives my face a little bit of a glow, but I just love using this with thicker foundations like the Marc Jacobs Remarkable and this guy. So the shade I'm using is 0.5 Breeze. This is the lightest shade they make. Their shade range online is super weird. I'm just going to start, I just literally apply this directly to my face, which, I don't know, isn't the most sanitary because you're putting this back in the bottle. Since I have a ton to cover up, I put quite a bit on. If you don't have acne and a lot of problem areas on your face, you could probably just use half of this amount. Then I go in with this lightener, and this is new. I've never mentioned this on my channel. This is the Stargazer White Foundation. I've mentioned the Stargazer powder a ton recently. It's been my favorite under eye powder. So I wanted to try out their liquid product, kind of like the Manic Panic Dream Tone. And I am going to be having a full foundation mixer video coming soon. I've tried lightening this foundation with Manic Panic and the NYX foundation mixer and a few others, and this one is just my favorite for this foundation for some reason. I feel like it lasts the longest and it doesn't alter the consistency that much. It isn't as like pure white pigment as some of the other mixers, and I've only used it a few times, so I don't want to give my like full thoughts on it yet, but I do like mixing it with this foundation. So as you can see, the coverage is like insane. Full coverage, looks beautiful. Doesn't look cakey on the skin at all. Really pretty glowy finish. And I totally forgot to take a before photo, dang it. I have an Instacart grocery delivery coming right now, so I need to like wrap this up, or I'm gonna look real cute going downstairs to get my groceries. Okay, so I don't really know how much white I put on. I put on like a couple stripes and then just blend it in as it's on my face. I usually mix in the lightener beforehand, but I feel like this foundation applies a lot better directly applied to your face versus like on a palette first. If you're concerned with like putting the applicator back in the bottle, you could use the foundation palette. Shade 0.5 is a pretty neutral color. I have worn it by itself without foundation mixer, and it definitely looks a little bit too dark for my skin. Like you can see even when I blend it down my neck, you can see the distinction. So I can't go with just the shade 0.5, but if you're a tiny bit darker than me, 0.5 would probably be good for you. If you're lighter than me, you're going to have to mix in a lot more foundation lightener, because I definitely wouldn't call this like a pale foundation. It barely is doable for me. By the way, I totally forgot to mention this. The brush I use to apply it is the Sigma F80. I've tried 4 different brushes. I've tried a sponge. I've tried everything to apply this, and this is my favorite brush to apply this foundation. I'll link it down below along with my favorite makeup brush video. So at this point where I still have a few spots where I could add a little bit more coverage, I typically go in with my concealer, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to just spot conceal to show you guys, because it does claim to be a foundation and concealer. So I'm just going to use the wand to dot on and conceal so you guys can see how it works. And you could use your finger or a brush to blend this out. Typically with concealer, I just use my finger. I feel like it gives me the best coverage. So that fully works as concealer too. It smells a little bit chemically. Yeah, it definitely has like a stronger chemical smell. I actually prefer that than like having a perfumed scent. I can't handle the Dior foundations that literally smells like a perfume. So here's what the skin looks like before applying powder and concealer and bronzer and all of that good stuff. On days where I don't want to put on a full face of makeup, I've just done this and put on some brow gel. I have combo skin, so I do get a little bit oily throughout the day. If I don't powder this foundation, I do get a lot more oily than when I apply a powder to set it. So if you have oily skin, just keep that in mind. Since this is pretty moisturizing and dewy, I do think that dry skin could pull this off. Definitely normal skin. Dry skin, like it doesn't cling to any patches at all on me. So maybe it's worth a shot if you have dry skin. So I'm going to apply the rest of my face makeup and then we'll be right back. Alright, so here's all of my makeup on. If you can find the right shade for you, I definitely think this foundation is worth a try. I've been loving it. I've been using it literally every single day for the last like 3 weeks, which I feel like says something because I usually change up my foundation every single day. I feel like if Clinique came out with 2 more shades that were like 2 lighter than the shade 0.5, it would be perfection, and I would use this every single day of my life. I'm still kind of playing around with the best powders for this foundation, but the 2 I've been using most often that I like the best are the Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade 100. This is the lightest shade, and it does help to lighten everything up a little bit. I don't like the mateness of this powder, so I usually use a shit ton of highlight when I use this. The other powder is the Nars All Day Luminous powder in Syberia. The only reason why I use this is because the color has a little bit of a yellow tint to it. This just has a tiny bit of yellow tone to it. This isn't a luminous powder. I don't really know why they call it that. The It Cosmetics powder I always mention, Celebration Foundation Illumination, that is way more luminous than this powder, so if you're looking for a luminous powder, don't buy this. I just mostly use this because I have it and it adds a little bit of yellow tone. So that's what I use today, and then I also set my face with the MAC Fix Plus spray. I find that after a powder, it can kind of take away some of the nice dewiness, so that just brings everything back to life. Side note, on my lips right now is the brand new ColourPop Matte X collection. I did a full swatch and review video on that, so link it down below along with the makeup details for the rest of my face. So that was everything. Let me know what foundation you guys want to see next below. I'm going to be having the Sephora spray foundation coming, Ulta stick foundation, Tarte gel foundation. I literally have a drawer full of foundations I have to review. So let me know what you guys want to see down below. Also let me know what you think of this foundation if you have tried it. If you're new to my channel, join the Bayrito family and subscribe. The button is down below. It's red. You can click it. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.